Hey.
Hi.
It's Friday. It's Bridge the Divide Friday, and we are coming to you live from CPL Radio.
We're out in a very socially distanced fashion.
We did. I wish that we had a picture. This is fantastic.
I'll take a picture.
Okay.
We have to.
This is a fantastic setup. I feel safe.
Many feet apart from each other at our own tables.
Yes. But that also means I can't kick you under the table or like elbow you or something.
I'm safe.
Dang it.
Safe. But we couldn't not have a podcast anymore because there's just way too much in the news, and we needed to get together and talk about it with each other and hopefully with all of you. Because in the midst of COVID, which has been our main news story for good reason for a long time, there's a lot of really impactful things coming out in the news too that are hard to believe and not hard to believe.
Right.
And we want to talk through them. What does it mean? What does it mean to you? What questions do you have? What are you seeing? What do these trends indicate about America?
And, you know, we didn't even get to decompress about the letter that we got to the family in Cedarburg. We didn't even get to talk about that. And so that's another thing that's a couple months ago, but it just adds to the overall, oh my goodness, what's happening. And I do have to say that, and lots of people will say that it's not new. These things aren't new for people who've experienced them. They will tell you it's been happening forever and ever and ever. What's different is social media, you know, for the letter that was in Cedarburg. The family was willing to post it on social media and show everybody what it was. For the current events that we're talking about, we have video. So they're not brand new things, but they are maybe newly viewable things. Maybe we didn't have video before, or we did, but it wasn't shared or something.
I've been thinking too about our Bridge the Divide concept. In some ways, it means bridging the divide between different cultures and races and ethnicities and ways of seeing the world. But more and more, I'm thinking it's a divide, bridging a divide between people who see what we see and people who don't see it at all.
Right.
And how do we reach the people? We have allies in this, that some of these stories come out and they're like, oh yeah, I mean, this is why the African-American community struggles with the police over and over. And then there's other groups of people that are, see it very differently. So how do we bridge that fundamental divide?
Right. Yep. And I think that this is the way, because when you talk through, if you put up a social media post, you put everybody on blast, it's there, it's in your face. If it makes you uncomfortable, you turn it off and you go away. If you don't agree, you either shoot something back or you walk away. When you can talk about it, you get to some of the nuances. You get to an understanding, whether it's a compromise, whether it's a negotiation. I don't know what you call it, but only when you're talking can you have that back and forth. And I think that's the thing that convinces people, persuades people, lets them hear another opinion that's not necessarily shouting at them, or not so. You give them a chance to interact with the information. And I think that's important too.
It is.
Where do we want to start off?
Oh gosh. Well,
and we did. Oh wait, this is live. So we have a telephone number, and you can call us and ask us questions. We don't mind hard questions, but we're not going to take ugliness and nastiness. So, but the telephone number to reach us here at CPL Radio is 262-235-0265. And you can call us, and I am manning the phone, and I haven't done it before, so it might not be pretty initially, but you can call and ask a question and talk to us, interact with us. We'd appreciate it.
We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Ahmaud first?
Let's do it.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Say his name. 26-year-old jogger out of Georgia.
Well, and 25 because didn't he miss his 26th birthday?
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Yep.
So young man, high school athlete, mama's sweet boy. What was his job? I don't remember his job. Do you know? I'd have to look it up.
I don't remember hearing.
I'm trying to think of him in his personhood.
Right.
Before we go into the story.
Right.
Say his name.
Right.
But this was way back in March.
In February. In February.
Oh gosh, I'm getting all my stories.
Oh no. Right, because there's so many, right? Yeah, it happened in February 23rd.
Oh yeah, the Greg and his 34-year-old son Travis fatally shot him while he was out for a run. I think some of the backstory is that there had been some robberies in the community,
Right.
and I don't know. I read this that he had been looking around a new construction house, like many of us do. When I'm passing a new house that's being built, I want to go peek in the window and see what it looks like.
And no windows and no doors yet.
Right. So he's just checking it out. And so they assumed that because he was black, he was committing a crime or up to no good or wanting to steal from someone in the neighborhood. Not that he could just be out for a jog. And so I don't even know what they said to him. Or did you see the video? Did you watch the video?
So I did see the video. I saw it by accident because someone shared the news story. And of course I want to see, well, what in the world is this? And when I opened it, it started playing the video. So I didn't know what it was. I hadn't heard the story before. So I really had no idea. And in, the 2 minutes I'm trying to figure out what happens, I watched a guy get killed. So I think that part of the argument that I'm seeing on social media is not that Ahmaud died at the hands of the younger McMichael. That's the person that shot him because we see that and that's on tape. The argument, you don't know all the facts story is the background. Why was he there? What did they say? Did they know him from before? Is he the good, sweet boy that his mom says? You don't know what he was thinking. You know, all of the background is noise.
Yeah.
I think because whatever comes out, however it shows up when we go to trial, and that's another thing, that they were arrested 2 months later.
That's
But
so late.
But however that all the evidence plays out, what you have is an unarmed man who was confronted by two armed men and two vehicles, and the one vehicle had the man that was recording, and he was killed.
Right.
So, and then you have the extra layers of no one was arrested.
Oh, the DA's recusing them. One of them recused himself. They didn't press charges early on. What the older McMichael was he a former cop?
Former police officer and an investigator that worked in.
He had some connection to
right
them.
Right. So you have the incident itself, which seems horrible. No, that's not Heidi barking, I swear.
Is there... Oh, I think I saw a dog in here actually.
Oh, cool. And so you have the actual incident that we have film of part of it. There's every day I feel like there's more snippets of more film coverage and more photos coming out. So you have that information, and then you have I guess the lack of action from law enforcement, from the legal system, all of that happened in Georgia. This was in Georgia.
Right.
That happened in Georgia, that led to no follow-up, no punishment, no arrests, no nothing until the whole world saw the video.
Right. That is what finally put pressure on them to do so. So now I think it's on a third DA. Because one recused himself, one was taken. Well, the first one thought they were within their current rights.
Right.
So that's why.
Yeah. It's self-defense.
You know, if it was two black guys that shot a white guy, you just know it. You know it. That they would be in prison that night. Like it would not, it doesn't work the same the other way.
Right. And that's another, again, with the layers and the nuances. People, when they think about racism, people tend to think, and we've had this conversation before, they tend to think there is this individual act of bigotry, hatred, ugliness, violence, one person against another person. And that's what racism is. That could be as a result of racism, but that's not all that it is. If you have an entire group of people at a legislative level, and I don't know that they're all white, but I'm saying that it's a white group of people who are in power, in control of the situation, and that the only person that's black is the person that's dead.
Right.
And that everybody else controls the story. They control how it goes. They control who is arrested, who is not, whose story we hear,
right,
whose we don't. How do we not hear anything at all? I think originally the police told the mom that her son was had broken into a home,
right,
and was in the midst of a burglary, and the homeowner killed him.
In self-defense.
Yeah. Because he was in his house. So the person that killed him was not the homeowner.
No.
The house did not have windows or doors. So there wasn't a breaking and entering.
No, it would be trespassing at most.
Trespassing. And some of the other videos that say, well, he was on that property before. I've seen, how many videos have I seen? I've seen 2 more videos of a person that to me looks very much like him. One is right before the murder, and one I think was walking down the street. So one inside the house and one walking down the street. And then I've seen pictures of someone who looks like they have the same kind of clothes, a white T-shirt and some shorts, but it was at night. And so to me, Ahmaud is a dark-skinned man, and the ones that showed the still pictures, the hair looks like it could be his. The clothes look like clothes that he had worn before, but I can't see his face. I can't see his skin tone. I can't see any of the things that me, being a reasonable person, I believe, would say those people are the same people. I can't see those. So
even so,
right,
you do not take a life,
right,
for that reason.
Right.
I just kept thinking, what did this father, what kind of attitude and values did he pass on to his son? They were in this together. The father wasn't stopping him. Whatever conversations they'd had along the years, or attitudes or things they believed, were played out in that moment. They were played out. I mean,
I don't know. And even when you take it away from the actual people that were involved in the actual incident, the people that you see on the news, the people that you see in social media, how do you say that a person, well, he shouldn't have been there, so he brought it upon himself? Like, is that what you say? If it was a white man in a black neighborhood and 2 black neighbors came out and said, you're going to get out of my neighborhood because you don't belong here, or whatever they're going to say to them, and then kill him, are you going to say that same thing on social media? It was fine. He shouldn't have been there, and he should have left when they told him to. I don't know that that the whole of social media would be saying that same thing. So
I don't think so.
And that's again with the race, not race baiting. It's another thing that I keep seeing coming up. Everything's about race. You always bring race into it. You always keep race out of it. Mm-hmm. When you're the majority culture, and you think that things are made to fit what you think, what you like, what you believe, then you speak out only if it doesn't fit, what you believe. You
Right.
as the majority culture, the majority of the people. So how do you not, unless we can have a conversation and have a back and forth, how do you not see the humanity in another man who lost his life, and you don't think that that's a problem?
Right. And it just echoes, stories over and over. Mm-hmm. The man that was eating ice cream in his apartment last year in Texas, and that cop came off her shift and shot him because she thought he was in her home. Trayvon Martin. We have another person to talk about today, Breonna Taylor.
Right. And again, with if we talk about before we move off of talking about Ahmaud, is people going up and bringing up his history. Well,
right.
He had an arrest and a conviction and a something else 7 years ago. He was shoplifting one time. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So now that you found that out, that tells me he deserved to die at the hands of...
Right. No.
And where is... Do any of the McMichaels have anything from when they were 18 that they did or said that wasn't right? It's you can't play the game one way. It can't all be one-sided. And how is it not one-sided unless you're talking together, not talking to a camera?
Right.
Because I can talk to a camera and pat myself on the back and say all the things that I want to say. Talking to another person who doesn't have the same viewpoint, whether it's just a little bit different or whether it's a lot different, and talk, not yell, not fight, not curse. I mean, that's a big thing. If you're talking to me and you're cursing at me, then, I'm done. Because I don't do that to you, so I don't want you doing it to me.
We have a lot of people in this community that want to talk and value it. Mm-hmm. And we also have a lot of people that don't want to talk about it. Mm-hmm. I found out recently that last year at the high school in Cedarburg, there was a student doing a project, a history project for an assignment for class. And she had seen the maps that Bridge the Divide helped bring into the library.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And she was inspired by those maps. And she wanted to know the story behind segregation. So she put a few months of work into her project. Her teacher was supported. She did a good job. And then she was called to the administration's office and told that she had to shut her project down. I don't know any more details than that. That was straight from the mother. I don't know what they said or what reasons they gave. But to me, we are not willing to talk about hard things in our school system.
Right. Well, we are if it's the majority culture that says that they're hard.
Or if it doesn't make us look bad.
Yes. We don't like to
No
look
one
bad.
wants to self-reflect on things that are actually hard.
Right.
It's all about positivity. It's all about outward veneer.
Right.
It's about test scores. And we stop. Mm-hmm. Just stop, because the things that matter are in your heart, and you have to stop and you have to face them. And it's ugly. But you know what? Cedarburg and Ozaukee County, we all have it in our hearts, and we have to look at it.
Mm-hmm. And we can recover. Why is it?
We can grow.
We can grow and be better people from before. If just because you say, I think you did this thing and that wasn't right, you can grow from that and become a better person. It doesn't take you down and, well, now I can never be seen as good again. I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, it takes a curiosity, and it's kind of a painful look, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, as a white person, I can say, I'm not very many years into this journey. What, 6 years in?
Right.
Before that, I thought I was a really nice person. Mm-hmm. I mean,
and you're still a nice person, right? You're a nice person even if you get something wrong. It doesn't mean that you're not a nice person.
But now, to me, it's so much more valuable to embrace the faults I have or false beliefs I had, to live honestly with myself and with my community and other people. I think in the wake of this COVID, I've been a little frustrated by the community health approach that we all have now. Like all of a sudden, we're all going to do everything for community health. Whereas healthcare disparities have been a decades-long problem.
Right.
And when they weren't affecting us nice middle-class moms.
Correct.
We didn't care. And now, like the vitriol coming out from white upper middle class women if you don't have a mask on, like heaven forbid.
Thankfully, I haven't seen a fist fight yet. but I've seen
on Facebook
some angry Facebook posts. Yeah,
it's so hypocritical that it's very frustrating.
Right.
Like, not that I'm culpable in all of it too. All of it. But I'm just saying, like, let's just be honest with ourselves. Like, now we care about community health.
Right.
Come on.
Right. And how long does that anger or that we're going to do something about this, how long does that last? Does that only last as long as it's going to affect you? And as soon as it's not anymore, then it falls away? How do you follow up with things? How do you follow up with if the school system here incorrectly told somebody they couldn't do a project? You have to dig in, and I don't want to say fight back because it's not an aggressive thing, but it is, you have to fight for what's true and what's right. And what do you do with that? Because it's a fight. If you try to go to administration, to people in authority to say, I didn't like what you said. I didn't like what you did. I think you should change it.
I think institutions like some of the legislative, in Georgia, that institution there, however they arrest people, that's an institution. School systems are institutions. Yeah. Churches are institutions. Big bodies of people who have power don't want to give it up.
Right.
And so there's really not a lot of impetus to change if you don't have to. Like, hey, we're the number 2 school district in the state. What we're doing everything right.
Everything right.
So why do we
and
need
if you
to change?
Say differently, then you are the bad person for trying to bring that up.
You know what that's called? It's called gaslighting. I did a paper on this. It came from this term in a movie. Maybe the movie was it called gaslighting? Right?
Ingrid Bergman. 1938, 39. It's a thriller.
1938.
Is it called gaslight? Gaslight. So this term, throughout the movie, it was to make this person feel crazy for what they were seeing. And that is still, it's not a highly used term, but I came across it in a study of leadership styles. So like in nursing academics, for instance, there's been gaslighting. So if you bring up something that you see as a problem with the institution, they will gaslight you and make you feel like, no, you're the crazy one for pointing this out.
Right.
Because we have it all together.
Right.
So I call this the burden of perspective. I call it that in a lot of places. And I talk to my husband about it a lot. And I want to write about it a lot because
it is a burden. Because if you know and you see, what do you do?
And if you see it and the institutions don't want to change, that's a heavy thing to carry.
Right. It's a big fight. I mean, especially when it's, I was going to say Man Against the Machine, but that's probably a different movie. but it is the one person against the system. Right. And where your resources, your social capital, do you have any of that compared to an institution, compared to a system?
No. And this must be in some ways how racial minorities
in all
feel.
The ways.
I'm just trying not to speak because I am not one. But you tell me, it seems like it's like this giant gaslighting thing in America. No, you guys are all crazy.
Right.
No, we're always ethical.
We would never do that. What do you mean?
What?
Yes. Yes.
So
And I think that's what leads to the exhaustion of it.
Right.
If I spend my entire life trying to show you and prove to you that this is happening, when everybody who looks like you that's in the situation refuses to see and acknowledge, it's beating your head against a wall.
Right.
And you choose to either continue to do it thinking, I'm going to break through. And then people look at you going, you're not going to break through. You need to just stop because it's not going to happen. Or you try a new way and you try a different way. And I think this is one of the things, Bridge the Divide and having a podcast and having meetings is one of the ways of trying a new way. It's a new, it's what's happened. It's been happening and we're trying to tell you about it. So you should listen to us. But we're going to take a quick break and we're going to read you the phone number again so you can get to your phone and come back and call. You can call and ask us questions, comments at 262-235-0266.